Hello, everyone, and welcome to 0 to 08 Pointless Football Padcast. Did I have a Boston accent now? Screw it, we're doing it live for fans and non-fans alike. Where we pit someone who knows some football, that would be me, Fixxxer, against someone who knows absolutely nothing about football, and that would be you, Tulkas. Hi, Tulkas.
Wow, you've never done it live. This is new.
We're doing it live. Well, because I'm in a time crunch here. I got a stream starting soon.
Okay, fair enough. The stream might have to boycott Grumpy Face.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone. What do you do on Thanksgiving, Tulkas?
There's some family friends coming over, gonna do stuff, I don't know. This is my only day off this week.
Oh, enjoy your day off.
I just worked 50 hours, and then I'm going to have Thanksgiving, and then I'm going to work 60 hours. So, fun for me, I guess.
You work with boxes a lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, as someone who has in the past worked with boxes a lot, are your hands, and especially like your cuticles, are they drying out?
No.
They will, they will eventually.
I have gloves.
Oh, you have gloves. That's wise.
Yeah, it's personal protection equipment.
There you go.
PPE. I have gloves and a badge and a vest. I have a big orange vest I wear. I'm very flamboyant.
I myself did not use protection and found that cardboard dries out your skin like crazy, especially your cuticles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
I guess
that's why you should wear gloves.
I guess I'll use that now, although we don't actually use many boxes, but that's another thing.
All right, so last week, our records, I was 8-5 and you were 6-7.
Oh, okay, so wait. Hey, that's good, right? That's Boulder Fist Ogre stats. Like, come on, you can't tell me Boulder Fist Ogre is bad. I mean, what's 7-5? What's 7-5? That's what is 7-5? That's Illidan. That's
you were 6-7.
No, Illidan Storm Rage is 7-5, and Boulder Fist Ogre is 6-7, and you're not gonna sit there and tell me that Illidan Storm Rage is a better card than Boulder Fist Ogre.
I cannot sit here and tell you
Good.
that, no.
I won! Woo!
All right, let's start off with the history of football on Thanksgiving. Does that sound good?
Giddy up. I mean, Equatorial Guinea up.
So games were played randomly on Thanksgiving starting around in the 20s, perhaps even earlier. We don't have very good records, I suppose. It was random teams that were picked to play on Thanksgiving. It wasn't really a big deal back then. It started becoming more of a tradition in the 30s, primarily with the Detroit Lions. So the reason is that the owner of the Lions wanted to get more people into the seats because they weren't selling tickets very well. And he was successful in that because he also owned a radio station which allowed him to negotiate deals with NBC. So the games got broadcasted, it became popular, they sold tickets, put butts in the seats, and a tradition was born. The Lions have been playing on Thanksgiving ever since then. And problems came about, though, in the late 30s and in the early 40s with the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt wanted to move Thanksgiving to the third Thursday of November in order to boost the economy, and about half the states adopted the move. Did you know that?
How would it boost the economy?
To have it 1 week earlier.
But how does that overall boost the economy?
Well, it injects more money quicker, 1 week quicker than it normally would have. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about it, but that was his reasoning. So, okay. Yes. Half the states adopted the move. The other half told them to F off. And this also caused a problem in scheduling, quote-unquote, Thanksgiving games because some teams, or some states recognized the date and others did not. This new date was coined Franksgiving in order to make fun of Roosevelt. Did you know that?
Aww. Hey, my buddy.
So the World War II also became a problem, and no Thanksgiving Day games were played until 1945 because of the Great Depression and World War II. Well, not the Great Depression, but the move of Thanksgiving. So the war ended, and the games resumed. Detroit has hosted ever since then. The second game on Thanksgiving was given to a different team back then. Various cities would host it, usually Brooklyn, Chicago, or LA. Some years it was just the Detroit game. Some years it was 2 games. It just seemed kind of willy-nilly. Then, in 1966, the Cowboys wanted in on the money. So Dallas owner felt there was nothing to do on Thanksgiving, so may as well have another football game. And Dallas has been playing the second game on Thanksgiving ever since then. I think there were a couple years where they were removed for some reasons that are not clear. I think they didn't. I think the owner didn't like, the NFL commissioner didn't like the Dallas owner, so he tried giving the game to other teams. I think it was the Cardinals, and the money bombed, so he gave it back to Dallas. Something like that. Not too important. Anyways, where was I? In 2006, the NFL realized that these games were a cash cow, so they added a third game for prime time. And this time slot doesn't belong to any one team. The NFL just usually picks a game they feel would be good, usually between like division rivals. So you've got the Lions at home, then you get the Cowboys at home, and then the third game is whoever the NFL wants. And that is your history of football on Thanksgiving.
I can't imagine why anyone would choose to watch this over UHC. Anyway, if the Strangelanders were U.S. presidents, who would be FDR?
Yeah, I don't know. What kind of question is that? Who would you think would be FDR?
Okay, so it has to be someone that's a good leader in a crisis. Someone that, with the whole New Deal thing, taking us out of the recession, spending lots of money on infrastructure.
I'm going to go with Molly and her fire.
I think I might go with Brian, Dr. Brian Logan 111. I could see him being FDR, could you?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, anyway, so during these podcasts, you always talk a lot about the owners. You're always like, oh, these owners and the NFL commissioners. You're always talking about these big dudes, right?
Right.
So my question is, in the 1840s, Scottish writer Thomas Carlyle posited a great man theory wherein history can be largely explained by the impact of great men or heroes, highly influential individuals who, due to either their personal charisma, intelligence, wisdom, or political skill, used their power in a way that had a decisive historical impact. But in 1860, Herbert Spencer formulated a counter-argument that said that such great men are but the products of their societies, and that their actions would be impossible without the social conditions built before their lifetimes. So would you agree with Thomas Carlyle or Herbert Spencer?
I don't think that they're mutually exclusive.
Interesting.
Sure, people are always a product of their environment, their local society, but that doesn't mean we can't celebrate them.
That's interesting. The people at my college were very Spencerian, but okay.
I think they're not mutually exclusive. I think they both can be right.
But which do you think is right more often?
I'm not sure it matters.
I think it matters. I think it matters a great deal because, for example, historically, the great men have largely been white and male. However, societies have obviously been more diverse, containing women and more, ethnic minorities. And therefore, the question is, has history been decided by white men, or has it been decided by diverse minorities?
Well, our history obviously has been largely decided by white men.
But if the society, if my boy Spencer's idea is correct, then the minorities have played a larger role in shaping American discourse than you would perhaps believe.
Well, the society, I can't believe we're talking about this on the Thanksgiving Day. The society also presented the environment for people like Rosa Parks or Martin Luther King or John Lewis to become people to celebrate.
Okay. So basically you think that both are true. You think that great men drive societies, and societies drive great men. So asking which one is more important is basically a chicken or the egg kind of idea.
No, not chicken or egg. I just think that they're both true, and some might be true more for a specific person than others. But I mean, I just think they both can be true.
Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, absolutely. How about we talk a little bit about football then?
Do we have to?
We do. That is a topic for another podcast, apparently. Okay, Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions. The morning, quote-unquote morning football game, the early football game, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. So, the traditional Thanksgiving game in Detroit, the Bears came off a nice win. What are you doing? What's all this noise you're making?
I'm just squealing in my chair because that conversation excited me.
The Bears came off a nice win against the Vikings, but Trubisky is hurt and it appears he will not be playing on this day. At the time of this recording, I don't think they made an official position. I don't know. I haven't seen one. Anyways, I don't think he's going to be playing. The Lions had a nice win themselves, beating the Panthers 20-19. However, Kerryon Johnson is going to be out. I don't think the Bears have named a starter, but Chase Daniel is next on the depth chart, so he'll probably be the starter, I would think anyways. The Bears will probably rough Stafford up. Khalil Mack will probably have a field day again, but can they win with Daniel? I don't know. I don't think so. In Detroit, on Thanksgiving, I'm going to go with Detroit in an upset.
Put the link in the description, by the way, Great Wine Theory. But we've already seen this game, to my surprise. We already saw the Bears versus the Lions just 2 weeks ago.
Yes, but it was in Chicago. This one is in Detroit on Thanksgiving, which is Detroit's like religious day as far as football goes.
Okay, so they're heretics then. They don't worship Neil.
Well, I mean, and if that's the case, then all football teams are heretics.
Interesting. So, I mean, is the city of Detroit and the city of Chicago different? Like, I mean, they're both, pretty sort of corrupty, maybe, like not very, a lot of crime. Very similar cities, I would think.
They have had problems with political corruption, absolutely, and crime has been a problem in both cities for decades. Yes, and they're not far from each other.
I've been to Chicago, but I haven't been to Detroit since I was a kid. I think I have like a great aunt that lives there. I don't know, but I mean they're pretty similar battlefields. I mean Detroit can do their religious fervor thing all they want. I mean the Bears just have a heavyweight advantage. Like I said last time, the Bears are strong and they can just snap the Lions, and the Lions just can't take it. So I think the Bears are going to be fat and they're going to win. Equatorial Guinea.
Lovely. All right. Thanksgiving Day game number 2 at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. The Washington Redskins will play at the Dallas Cowboys. The Skins lost to the Texans last week, and Alex Smith had one of the most gruesome injuries ever recorded on camera in a football game. So he had a compound and spiral fractures in his tibia and fibula. I believe it was those two. The bottom, the lower leg, both of them snapped. This is obviously a season-ending injury. Next season probably doesn't look good either, and frankly, with his age, this is probably a career-ending injury. What's freaky about this is that he had the same injuries that Redskins great Joe Theismann had 33 years ago. Tulkas, you probably don't know about it, but it's a really famous video, a football video, where Joe Theismann snapped his tibia and fibula. I think it was both of them. And his leg just flopped around on camera. Freaked people out back then. And what's crazy, 33 years ago, on the same exact day, November 18th, and in the same exact spot on the football field. The what was it, the 18th yard line? I don't remember. That's kind of creepy. Anyways, I hope he can recover. Colt McCoy will be the new starter. And moving on to the rival, which is Dallas. Zeke had another great game with 122 yards rushing, 80 yards receiving, and he had a touchdown in their win versus the Falcons. I want to see how McCoy does for another game, maybe two, before I start feeling comfortable picking the Redskins again. I'm going to go with Dallas against their rivals.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cowboys, my boy Diesel, loves them. Historically, they would have won. I mean, and if the Redskins are getting whatever it is that happened, yeah, I'm down.
All right, the primetime game, the Atlanta Falcons, is at 8:20 Eastern. The Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. Julio Jones had a great game and finally found the end zone again, but his team seems to be a shell of its last year self. And they go up against the explosive Saints who walloped the Eagles 48-7 last week. We'll probably see another game like that. Saints are going to win in a blowout.
That's an interesting little idea we have here. So, we've actually seen this battle before.
Yes. Division rivals play each other twice in the season.
Yeah, you've told me this. So it's interesting to see because last time I picked the Falcons and Fixxxer TV at youtube.com/FixxxerTV picked the Saints. And do you know who won? The Falcons won.
Did the Falcons really beat the Saints earlier?
Yeah, unless I'm wrong. Am I wrong?
I don't know. It's surprising, but, the Saints don't have a perfect record, so I don't remember who they lost to.
I think of the Falcons one. Am I wrong? I might be wrong. But anyway, wait, no. What am I doing? Okay, hang on. We need to find this out. Okay. Falcons. Okay, Falcons versus Steelers. Falcons versus Buccaneers.
They beat the Falcons. The Saints' lone loss was the first game of the season against the Buccaneers.
Okay, so you gave me 1 point, and then you gave yourself no point. So I guess you guessed the Falcons, and I guessed. Okay, that makes more sense. Sorry, Fixxxer. I just had a.
Wait, did I really pick the Falcons over the Saints? Oh, it was the third game of the season, so that's understandable.
Yeah, but and I discussed a fellow named Basil of Ghent, who's associated with Falcons, and he was like a dude that had a undisciplined and disorderly life, but then he went and founded an abbey and did a thing. So that's like his thing. So he's like a saint associated with Falcons. But there's something new that you don't know.
What is it that I don't know?
Capitalism has a new saint that was canonized just last week. Do you know who it is?
Now, who would that be?
The one, the only, Bloodfanger.
Who's Bloodfanger?
You don't know who Bloodfanger is? He was a Strangelander. You forgot the Strangelander?
Oh, well, that's because I've never talked to him before. He was my friend's husband.
So he's a lot like Poppet.
He was Poppet's husband.
I remember Poppet. She made me her chancellor in Secret Hitler once. It was sweet. But yeah, Bloodfanger is a new saint in capitalism. So all the saints from now on will have bloody fangs. And with bloody fangs, they cannot help but nom on the Falcons. What do you think about that, Fixxxer TV?
It sounds like that would give him a win.
Giddy up, my boy Bloodfanger.
All right, moving on to Sunday's games. November 25th at 1 p.m., the early games. Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. Cleveland coming off the bye after the win versus the Falcons. Their offense has been night and day since they fired Hugh. Oddly enough, the Bengals have hired Hugh. I guess he is some sort of consultant to the head coach or something. I don't know. Anyways, Mayfield has been playing pretty well, but now he faces a pretty tough defense. A defense that gave up 265 rushing yards to the Ravens last week in a loss, including 117 yards to Lamar Jackson, the quarterback. Meanwhile, Mixon had 12 carries for 14 yards. Expect the Browns to shut down Mixon. I'm going to go with the Browns in what may be considered an upset.
So you love Neil Gaiman, right?
I do love Neil Gaiman.
He wrote a book called Interworld, I read. And in that book, there was a character named Hugh who was a floating orb that communicated through colors.
I have not read Interworld.
No. Well, I did. I thought it was pretty cool. So anyway, the Bengal Tigers, they're very good at sort of stalking. in the shadows, and then
Yeah.
like creeping up on you. This is how they will. This is their modi operandus to cite a certain Norseman that we both love very dearly.
Okay.
So they're all about skulking in the shadows. But you know what color the shadows are, Fixxxer TV?
They are dark gray.
They're brown.
Um.
Oh, the Bengals think the darkness is their ally, but they merely adopted the dark. The Browns were born in it, molded by it. They didn't see the light until they were already men, and by then it was nothing to them but blinding. The shadows betray the Bengals because they belong to the Browns.
So you're going with Cleveland in an upset as well?
Maybe.
All right, next up, San Francisco 49ers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Niners are coming off a bye, and they got a tough offense to go up against. They're banged up, and I'm not just talking about their QB and RB. They lost to the Giants last week, and the Bucs have a far superior offense to the Giants. Tampa Bay, they're coming off a loss to the Giants. How do you predict these damn games? Fitzmagic put up 3 interceptions with no touchdowns, and Winston came into play. He performed a little bit better. But still, this defense gave up 38 points to the Giants. I think I'm going to take the Bucs in a crazy high-scoring game.
So let's see. So if this was the Vikings, as we learned last week, or at least week before, the Vikings don't care about raging and pillaging and murdering. They really only care about that loot. So if it was the Vikings, I would say that the 49ers could simply use their accumulated gold to pay off the Vikings and, avoid fighting them altogether. The question is, do the Vikings share this same moral code? Are they more disposed to plunder and loot and just, fight regardless of what offers are made to them?
I thought Buccaneers were more in it for the money.
Okay. So in that case, the 49ers can also pay off the Buccaneers.
Is that true? Or although that's privateers that were in it for the money. What was the Buccaneer?
The privateers were just state-sponsored pirates. I mean, they weren't.
Really but they were doing it for money. They were taking out other ships for their fat loot.
Well,
right?
I mean, that's basically the same thing as pirates. I mean, privateers are the same thing as pirates, except they only attack one country's ships.
So what's the difference between a pirate and a buccaneer? Is it regional? Is it a pirate more of a northern? Or...
I would have thought that buccaneer would just be a synonym of buccaneer.
I think they're different.
Okay, buccaneers were a kind of privateer or free sailor peculiar to the Caribbean Sea during the 17th and 18th centuries. Originally, the name applied to the landless hunters of wild boars and cattle, but eventually the term was applied to corsairs and later privateers. They were known as freebooters and were largely lawless. Privateers were nominally licensed by the authorities to prey on the Spanish.
So both. They were regional, but then they became synonymous, basically.
Okay, so they're both interesting. So let's see. They
either way, they like their gold. Is basically the answer.
Crews generally had no regular wages, being paid only from the shares of their plunder. A system called no purchase, no pay. And they run in lines of liberty, equality, and fraternity. That's pretty giddy up. I don't see anything about whether they would be likely to. Okay, I mean, it sounds like their victims are surrendering. I'll just do my. I'm just going to go with the 49ers. I mean, they're probably going to be able to, buy off enough of the Bucs, and then the ones that remain. I mean, the 49ers. I mean, they still, cross the Great Plains to do their thing. I mean, they're still not. And they're also from a later age than the Buccaneers. I mean, they have more advanced firearms, don't they?
They should, yes.
Okay, so giddy up. Equatorial Guinea. Do you agree with me?
Uh, no, I'm going with the Buccaneers.
So why are you still going with the Buccaneers after all that? After we had this whole thing, how are you still ignoring my wisdom?
Because I try to base my decisions on football logic. I've already gone over the reason why I picked them.
But football is boring, you mean.
New England Patriots at the New York Jets. Patriots are coming off a bye where they got to think long and hard about their blowout to the Titans. The Jets have a 4-game losing streak, and Darnold is listed as questionable. Brady, Gronk, and Michelle are also a little bit beat up. The Jets are coming off a bye where they got to think about their own blowout loss to the Bills. This smells like a trap game for the Patriots. Everyone's expecting Brady to bounce back and throw all over his defense, all over this defense, and he may. The Jets have been struggling to score points for over a month now, and despite the markings of a trap, I think the Jets just can't score points, so I'm going with the Pats.
Yeah, I mean, the Jet having air superiority in Vietnam didn't help America, against the Vietnamese, North Vietnamese. And I mean, this is, the Patriots, they can just melt into the undergrowth. And I mean, what are the Jets going to do? Are they going to bomb Lexington and Concord and
maybe the Patriots have their own like Ho Chi Minh Trail? Do you think, like a Tom Brady trail?
No,
it goes up into Canada. Yeah,
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've never heard Ho Chi Minh Trail said before. I've only read it. Wow, that sounds weird. Like Ho Chi Minh. Hey, Fixxxer. Do you want to ride my Ho Chi Minh Trail?
Oh God, that sounded awful. All right, wait. So what are you're getting at? The Jets, they were not effective in Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Patriots win.
All right. Using the Tom Brady trail.
Yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars at the Buffalo Bills. Early Sunday game. Buffalo's coming off a bye after their blowout win versus the Jets. Not sure they put together 2 solid games in a row, though. The Jaguars have been struggling all year, but if you watched the game or read the box score, you would have noticed that they held the Steelers in check for 3+ quarters last week. They lost the game in the last few minutes, though. If they could do it against the Steelers, then they surely can do it against the Bills. I think I would go with the Jags. I think. But remember, it's the Bills. They could always just pull it out of their ass.
Tell the viewers about Blake the Penguin.
I don't remember Blake the Penguin.
Okay, well, put the link in the description. I sent Fixxxer a link about a penguin named Blake Bortles wearing a Blake Bortles jersey. It's fun.
Where is this link at? I don't see it.
In your NFL. Okay, I'll find your link. It's here. Okay, it's here. I'll put it. I'll copy. And now I'm going to paste it. I'm going to paste it right here. Control V. There you go. Blake Bortles the Penguin. And also last week, Jason was about to throw Molotov cocktail and he shouted Bortles, but it didn't work. It was out. But yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars all the way. Blake Bortles. Woo! Giddy up. Equatorial Guinea. I don't think this Equatorial Guinea thing is really working. I don't feel like it's catching on.
It's catching on with Diesel.
No, I mean, he said Equatorial Guinea up, which is still it's kind of half giddy up. Do you think it's catching on? Okay, we'll try it for a bit longer. We'll see if it takes off.
Give it one more week.
Yeah, I mean, you need to start saying Equatorial Guinea too, Fixxxer.
Is that really me though?
Well, you need to support me.
What do you mean? I do support you. I put your links in the description without any argument whatsoever.
Oh, well, that's kind of you.
Oakland Raiders at the Baltimore Ravens. The Raiders pulled out a win against the Cards last week. David Johnson, however, did run all over them, but they did win on turnovers. Lamar Jackson looks to be getting another start, but nothing was officially announced at the time of this recording. I don't think. It's probably been announced by now. But while we're recording this. Anyway, if the Raiders can pick them off like they did Rosen last week, I think they may have a chance, but I don't see it happening. Ravens win.
Okay, so how about every week that we have a Ravens game, I get to read a stanza of the Raven?
It's up to you.
Ooh, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up.
One stanza.
Yeah, I do my thing. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, gently napping, suddenly there came a tapping as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Okay, so I put a link in here that you could also put in the description.
Do you think it's the Raiders that are gently tapping on the chamber door?
That would be thematic, but somehow I doubt it. So there's like a thing about how the ravens summon the wolves to feed on the moose in Yellowstone. So like maybe the ravens will summon the wolves to feed on the raiders. What do you think about that?
It's entirely possible.
Also, I had like an idea that like maybe we could guess who's going to win like the Super Bowl in the end, and like it would be like a fun thing to do, and then we'd have our teams to root for. So and maybe we could have like a prize. Like if I win, I get to recite the Raven on your channel, like I did the Declaration of Independence for Morocco. Or if I win, you play Moonlight in Polish, or I play Artifact or something like that. Do you have any?
So you want to put up a wager, is what you're saying?
Yeah, some sort of wager with some sort of prize.
That's something we could consider.
Okay, well, I guess we can think about that over the weekend, and then next week we can announce our thingy. How does that sound?
Well, the playoffs are a ways away, and the Super Bowl is in February, so we got some time.
Okay, well.
And remember, I wanted to get perhaps a guest star, for those games.
Sure. Oh yeah, a guest star. I wonder. Oh, please get Bloodfanger, please. I really want to meet him.
I haven't even met him. The guest star would probably be Modi, maybe Molly or Matt. I don't know if Matt follows football.
Okay, maybe the guest star could be Poppet, and then we could ask her to tell stories about Bloodfanger. It could be the Bloodfanger podcast.
I think I'm going to have to pass on that. Anyways, who is your pick between the Raiders and the Ravens?
I told you the Ravens will summon the wolves. It'll be like football winter, North, Age of Mythology. Giddy up.
All right. Seattle Seahawks against the Panthers in Carolina. Seattle had come from behind to win versus the Packers last week. They're playing fairly well on both sides of the ball, sacking Rodgers 5 times and stuffing the run. Cam had a pretty good game in their loss to the Lions. They're still struggling running the ball, though, and that won't get any better against the Seahawks, who's been fantastic against the run. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to win, stuffing Green Bay's running game.
Well,
I'm sorry, Carolina's running game.
I think that Fixxxer is very confident about his pick here. And I think he's trying to throw me off my game, get me to commit to a wrong one. But no, I think the Panthers are going to pounce because cats prey on birds. Panthers are big cats. Seahawks are just like birds. And they're like, sure, maybe Brian loves them, but what does Brian know? I mean, Brian loves kitties. Like, that's his whole channel icon. Is his channel icon makes the kitty say want. Do you remember that, Fixxxer?
I do.
Yeah, it makes the kitty say want.
So Carolina.
Yeah.
All right. New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, look who's got a 2-point winning streak. The Giants won in a shootout against the Bucks behind Barkley's 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. Manning had a good day too. Gotta give him credit, Wentz, though, had his worst game in a long time, putting up only 156 yards and 3 interceptions. Their running game had just 58 yards. Of course, it was against the Saints, so I guess you can't really fault them too much for it. But they're the defending champions, so I don't know. Anyways, it makes it hard to figure this game out. The Eagles beat the Giants earlier this year. I think I'm going to go with the Giants and perhaps an upsets and a little bit of a revenge game.
Yeah, I reckon the Eagles won't be nimble enough to dodge the Giants clubs.
Got it. Afternoon games, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Chargers. Rosen had just 9 completions for 136 yards last week. 3 touchdowns, though, and 2 interceptions. We're kind of waiting for that turnaround I expected after they fired their offensive coordinator. At least David Johnson seems to be back to normal. It was depressing watching him all those weeks getting stuffed time after time. The Chargers, they lost to the Broncos last week in what seemed like an obvious trap game to me. Their defense couldn't get anything accomplished against Denver, and that's what Arizona is hoping for again this week. I think this will be a closer game than others think. I'm not seeing it in Rosen, though. I got to go with the Chargers.
Ooh, I had an idea for our wager. Okay, so how does this sound? If I win the wager, we upload the Cardinal video, the dollars and cents or whatever it is, to your channel, and we do commentary over it. How does that sound?
That would be stealing.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's government.
Wait, I was just about to say, that was put out by the government, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it should be public domain.
It's possible that I would be able to do that. Would I want to do that? I'm not so sure about that.
It's a really good video, man. If you haven't watched it, make sure to go to the previous week's podcast and check it out. But yeah, I mean, the Cardinals, they got to be right on the money. It makes good dollars and cents. So I reckon they're going to win.
Arizona wins per Tulkas. All right. Miami Dolphins at the Indianapolis Colts. The Dolphins have lost 3 of 4 after their nice start has been... And their nice start has been brought down to 500. Their skill positions are a little banged up, and they may need to rely on their defense to stop Luck and the Colts, who have run 4 in a row themselves. Granted, these wins were not against great teams, but they did put up a lot of points on some good defenses. That's what matters. I think they'll accomplish that here, too. Luck will continue his great season, and the Colts will win.
Defense, get tough. Defense, get tough. Is that a thing?
It probably is.
Cool. So, the Indianapolis Zoo has a dolphin pavilion with, trained dolphins and stuff. And I've gotten to sleep in the dolphin pavilion twice. What do you think about that?
It sounds like loitering to me.
No. It was when I was in 3rd grade and 5th grade, we had
So you've been a criminal since the 3rd grade?
No, we had an overnight at the zoo thing where we would all the whole class would sleep overnight in the dolphin pavilion next to all the dolphins.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah, fun. So I was gonna say that the Dolphins will struggle to get to Indianapolis. It's not like they can, since we've established last week they aren't freshwater dolphins. They can't swim up the White River, and even if they could, why would they want to? But if they can get into the Dolphin Pavilion, the Indianapolis Dolphins, they know the lay of the land. They know the Hoosiers, they know our people, they know, they have the Indianapolis Zoo, which is a thing. And though I don't know, I'm not sure about the Indianapolis Zoo. They let the zoo's one polar bear go to Detroit, and then it immediately died in Detroit. So I'm kind of sad about that. But hashtag Detroit sucks. But
Detroit's got a very good winter exhibit. I don't know, why did it die?
Well, we'll have to. Okay, tell you what. Why did polar bear die? We'll get back to that next week. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I think that it's a massive upset. No one would expect an aquatic animal to be able to win in central Indiana, where our only waterway of note is the White River, which has raw sewage dumped into it when it rains. No one would expect the Dolphins to win, but this is exactly why they will win. Because the Colts, they will underestimate the Dolphins. They will underestimate the Dolphins in the Indianapolis Zoo's Dolphin Emporium, or whatever it is, Dolphin Pavilion.
Hoosiers lose, right? Next.
Well, the Dolphins are Hoosiers too, so the Hoosiers win.
Pittsburgh Steelers at the Denver Broncos. The Steelers were shut down for 3 quarters against the Jags last week. They had 4 turnovers, and it took a couple of late touchdowns to pull out a win. Bell's time has come to an end. He won't be a Steeler ever again. Broncos gave up 400 yards to Rivers last week. They need to correct that if they want to beat the Steelers. It's in Denver as well with the thin air. I think I'm going to go with the Broncos in an upset.
What happened to Bell?
He held out. He wanted to get paid more money, and they didn't want to pay him more money. And last week was the deadline in order to be able to play this season. If you weren't on the roster last week, then you can't be on the roster at all for the rest of the season.
So what happens if the people on the team leave?
Well, it depends on contracts and things like that.
Do they have substitute players that are on the roster but not really on the roster?
They have what is called a practice squad, which comprises of 5 people. They're technically not on the roster, but they have certain rights over them.
Okay, I'll whatever. I'm gonna say that the Steelers are gonna go like pow. I mean, the Broncos are gonna try to do their dodgy thing, and the Steelers are just gonna be like, "I'm Nate Haywood, poo."
Lovely. Green Bay Packers. Oh, this is the Sunday night game. Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. 2 black and blue teams that find themselves in a bit of a pickle. They both badly need this win. Packers have a fluffy schedule coming up, so they can bounce back if they lose, I think. The Vikings, on the other hand, they have the Patriots, Seahawks, Dolphins, Lions, and Bears. It's a rough schedule. They need this win probably more than the Packers. And it's at home, so I'm going to go with the Vikings.
I want to have a fluffy schedule.
Yeah.
Packers
have a fluffy schedule.
Instead of 6 days of packing, ironically. Packers versus the Vikings. I don't know. I was kind of wanting this to be Diesel's pick, but then I want Diesel's pick to be for the game after your featured game. I'm going to go with the Vikings. Just go with the Vikings, whatever.
So enthusiastic. All right, Monday Night Football. Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans. Our featured game where we talk about the team names and the history of the teams very briefly. However, we did cover the Titans back in Week 7. I can't make them unique every week because the schedule's just kind of difficult like that. I'll give you a quick summary, though. The Cliff's Notes version. They started as the Houston Oilers. They moved to Tennessee. They became the Tennessee Oilers. Then they took their final form as the Titans, and that was
You fool! You haven't even found my final form yet!
Well, we have when it comes to the Titans. Anyways,
Texans. No, they're going to evolve. They're going to, because these are the lesser Titans, but then they're going to open the Titan gates and then Cronus will come. It's going to be like the new Atlantis. Right.
The Houston Texans was an expansion team in 2002 after the Oilers left for Tennessee 6 years earlier. There have been 6 professional football teams named the Texans. How do you feel about that, Tulkas?
I like the Jeb exclamation mark after the Texans.
Jeb! All right, so 6 teams named the Texans, including a couple of arena teams. Other names that were considered were the Apollos and the Stallions.
I like Apollo. Apollo's my boy.
Is he? You think the Houston Apollos would have sounded good?
Yeah, he killed the python. In my high school, I had a play called The Greeks, written by our drama teacher, which featured Apollo and Dionysus quarreling over the events, and it was cool.
All right, so the Texans are riding a 5-game winning streak and have so far turned their season around on the back of Watt and Watson. They're beating good teams, too. The Titans are one of the hard picks this year. They blow out the Pats, and then they get blown out by the Colts. I hate picking when this team is involved. I'll just go with the Texans to continue their streak at home.
So they're the father-son team?
No.
No, you said Watt and Watson.
Yes, but notice the 1 T versus 2 T's.
Yeah, but when Watson, the T would be contracted, it becomes 1 T.
Would it though?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that.
Would it be Watson? No, that doesn't make any sense. It's Watt and his son. Okay, so we have our sick father-son team out here. Hang on, did I give
yes.
the?
Yeah, and Watson is indeed younger than Watt, so maybe you're onto something.
Okay, so that's fun. Okay, I'll go with that. I'll just say that the Titans are going to win, aren't they? I mean, they're Titans. I guess you think the Texans are going to win.
I do.
That's mean, Fixxxer. That's mean. I guess the Texans will win.
What was that you had in there that you're upset that I deleted?
Okay, so in Skyrim, there's a quest known as Escapes Citadel of Mine in Malcross. So you go to Malcross and you make a dude named Eltrig, and he's like, yo, investigate stuff. And then you investigate stuff, and it turns out that the Ulfric Storm, that the Forsworn were the indigenous people of the Reach, but then Ulfric Stormcloak invaded with the Silverbloods and took over, and they drove out the Forsworn. And ever since, the Forsworn have been mounting terrorist attacks upon Malcross to try to regain their homeland. Then the Silverbloods secretly encouraging this and manipulating the Forsworn to try to eliminate the Silverblood's enemies. So then, at the end of the quest, you have to choose between Madanach and Sonar of the Silverbloods and decide which one you should side with. But I'm not sure which one I should side with because they're both kind of bad. So I want Diesel to decide which one I ought to side with. Whether I should side with the Silverbloods and the Forsworn. The idea being that, like, you know, if I side with the Forsworn, they escape and go out into the hinterlands. And when the Empire retakes Skyrim and comes in, and they'll have a more difficult time eliminating them. And then the Silverbloods, they're just mean, man. They're just, I don't know. So I have a lot of questions. So, like, let's have Diesel figure that out. I will put the quest wiki in the description, and then you can put that in your description, and then Diesel can give me his answer. Giddy up. And then if he doesn't want to, I guess he can just give me the Packers versus Vikings. I don't know. Bye, everyone.
All right. Well, everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next time.
The intro goes a bit something like this.
That's our intro?
Yeah, that's the Fixxxer TV channel intro.